Although similar to a regular product shoot, the still life genre usually incorporates more creative lighting schemes and the addition of props and foreign objects into the scene. This calls for full control of the camera setup and the workflow as well. The Peaze원 Xf Iq4 150 provides all the essential tools to accomplish this. To have full control of your shooting scenario, it is essential to have a tethered workflow which allow for real-time on-screen evaluation of the build-up and progress of the shoot. In situations where a longer distance to the workstation is necessary, or simply to eliminate thinking of battery power, tethering via an Ethernet cable is an easy, fast and rock-solid solution. As an alternative to this, you can enable the wireless tethering feature very easily. Simply connect to the same wireless router your workstation is already connected to, and the Iq4 will easily switch to using the wireless connection in case the cable tethering for some reason should disconnect. Shooting with the Xf in different types of situations may require you to use different types of functionalities. By simply saving and then at a later time loading a custom setup will enable you to have the tools you use the most for the given scenario right at hand and ready to shoot. In this case, we have loaded an already predefined set of custom tools, which are both practical and essential in a still life studio situation. We're using live view either directly on the camera or in Capture One. By using the ambient exposure simulation, we can evaluate if there's any light pollution from the studio strobes or room light which we need to take care of, for example by adjusting the shutter speed or turning off the lights. Setting the live view to auto will enable us to use it as a regular viewfinder for composition and focus. Live view is a must-have feature when working in a studio setting like this, as it enables you to very precisely focus your subject, but also as an aid in arranging and placing the objects in the scene, as well as evaluate the influence of changes in the lighting setup. For this series of still life bottle shoots, it is important for the client that the bottles are located the exact same place and that we maintain the same depth of field. By engaging the hyperfocal tool, we can simply lock down the exact point of focus we have decided to be ideal for the subsequent images, simply by recording the focal point and at any point recalling this focal point should it be needed. Also, as a security measure, should we somehow accidentally change the focus during the capture sequence. With the built-in Profoto Air tool in the Xf, we can adjust the individual groups of our packs in 1/10 of a stop, turn off modeling lights, as well as turning off the groups completely. This is very useful in the sequence of the different lighting scenarios we are shooting and helps in not having to move too much around the set, fiddling with the generator packs. As we are running multiple lights and may want to end up balancing the ambient light with the flash, we can check to see if we're having any issues with the flash duration time or shutter speed settings by activating the flash analysis tool. This gives us a precise indication whether or not we need to adjust any of the parameters to avoid this, for example increasing the shutter speed setting. Finally, in setting up the lights, we can very quickly use the raw clipping warning to visually indicate if and when the image we may have an area which is outside the exposure range of the sensor, and then adjust the lights accordingly. This really saves us time afterwards and enables us to get the exposure right from the start. At the same time, we can make use of the ability to load a custom Capture One style directly into the Iq4 for an instant preview of the final result. In this case, we have a custom IQ style which emphasizes the warm tones and subtle saturation of the rum in the various bottles we're going to shoot. As part of this shoot consists a number of long exposure captures with some light painting involved, we need to make sure that the camera is stable and without any movement. We can actually visually check the smallest vibrations there may be in the studio floor by going to the seismograph tool. This will show us if we have a potential issue with vibrations. Enabling the vibration delay in the Xf camera, in this case 4 seconds, will simply measure the vibration in the camera, and if there's no or minimal vibration in the camera, it will activate the exposure within the 4-second limit. Afterwards, we can evaluate the analysis of the vibration in the capture directly on the camera to see if we should have potential issues, without even having to look at the image. Although we have up until now been very meticulous with the lighting, we're going to capture a sequence of differently exposed images using the automatic HDR feature. This is to have a variation of exposures for the actual contents of the bottle. In this case, we're choosing 6 images in 1/3 of stop increments. When working alone in the studio, you need to streamline the process as much as possible and minimizing the required steps best possible. As we are working in front of the camera on set, it becomes very beneficial to be able to rotate the user interface of the Xf camera so that it can be accessed from the front. Especially as we now need to activate the time-lapse sequence right from the set. We do this as we need a set of virtual hands to execute the capture while operating a reflector board for differently located areas in the bottle we need to work on. Afterwards, we select the correctly lit images for the final assembly. Already at the initial capture, we made a gray balance exposure by shooting a gray card to establish the correct white balance setting. Additionally, we adjusted the first image to our likings using the Iq style we created from the previous shoot. As we subsequently capture new images, the same settings are applied to these images, making it essentially unnecessary to do further adjustments. In this case, however, the light painted images are showing a colder hue because of the LEDs used. Fortunately, this is easily adjusted in Capture One before choosing the output format, in this case 16-bit TIFF. Finally, because we've made sure to lock down the camera properly at the beginning of the shoot, all the images are in perfect register and hence can be easily assembled in Photoshop using simple layer masking techniques. All these individual camera tools, in combination with an excellent tethered workflow solution through Capture One, makes the Phase1 Xf Iq4 150 the ultimate work tool, not only for still life, but for any studio-based photography situation.